Sources or inputs are essentially the elements that you use to build up your productions by adding them into scenes in QuickLink Create. Now you can see already on this particular scene that I have selected, I have got a few different types of source here. I've got lower thirds, I've got some graphics, some text, and then an image source, which is my logo here. Now there are lots and lots of different sources available to you in QuickLink Create, and there are a couple of different ways that you can bring these sources into your productions. So if I select a clean scene here, you'll see that the add source arrow is pointing towards this plus icon here. So this is one way to add a source. That opens up the add source window. And then from the sources drop down menu, I can either select the particular source I'm after. I can also search in this search box here. So if I've just typed in vid, that brings up the video capture device if I'd like to bring in, for example, a USB webcam or something like that. I could then select video capture device and then add source. Now, before I move forward, I'll just mention a few of the main ones that we have here, the ones that you might be using day to day, like an audio input capture device. You'd use this to bring in any microphones, which could be attached to an external sound card, or it could be any audio over IP as well, if you're using Dante or something like that. Say you've got an SDI camera attached to a Blackmagic capture card, you would use the Blackmagic device to bring those in. Countdown timers here, which is pretty self-explanatory. Got some more graphics here like display and hyper as well. Instant replay, which is really useful. Lower thirds I've previously mentioned. If you wanted to bring in any video or audio files, you would use the media source here. We have an NDI source as well if you're utilizing NDI in your workflow, whether that be from a Teams or Skype caller. Perhaps you wanted to bring in a remote contributor over NDI, you can use the NDI source for that. QuickLink Studio source, of course. We hope you're using QuickLink Studio and you're utilizing the QuickLink Manager. This is how you would bring in any of your callers from your conference room or any secure relay rooms if you have those as well. We've got an SRT source here if you are using SRT. As I mentioned previously, the video capture device, and then down at the bottom, we have a dedicated Zoom caller source as well. Now, all you need to do to add in these sources, I'm just going to pick a simple one for this example, like an image source, click add source. I could give it a name if I wished, or I could use an existing source if I have one already in my production. Click OK. And then because it's an image file, I need to find that on my PC. Just select that one, click OK. And you can see there, I've brought in an image source into my scene and my production. Now at this point, I can resize this source. I can move it around, put it wherever I like. If I find I've gone a bit wrong and I just kind of want to reset that or fit it back to the screen, I can do so in the transform settings down at the bottom of the interface. So I can stretch, I can center, I could fit to screen very quickly and easily like so. Now, if I need to do any fine tuning, I can go into transform again, come up to edit transform, and I've got some more specific settings here like position, rotation, size, bounding boxes and things like that if you need to go into more detail. Something else that you can apply to your sources is filters. So if you click filters, which is down next to transform here, you'll see that for an image source, I have effect filters available. If it's a different type of source, you may also have audio filters available to you too. Now you can add a filter by clicking the plus icon there or right-clicking in here, and then that brings up a list of available filters for that particular source. I can also go back into the properties of a particular source and say for this image, if I wanted to change it to something else, I just go back in and I could change it to a different source entirely. Now, if I decide that I need to add another source, there is another way to add in a source, as I previously mentioned. So in the sources window, I can add a source by right-clicking, quick add source, and then select another source like so. I'm just going to do another image source. I'm going to go back to the background that I had previously. So I've added that one back into the scene, but that was just ahead of the other source. So now I have rearranged both those sources, put one in the foreground and one in the background. You can do this with any different type of source as well. Now, if I decide that that's not what I'm after and I want to get rid of that source, all I needed to do is select that source, click the minus icon, click yes, and that source has now been removed from that scene. So that's a very, very quick overview of what sources are available to you and how to bring them into your scenes. I hope it was useful for getting you started with QuickLink Create. There are lots and lots of other articles and videos on specific types of source, so be sure to check them out on the knowledge base. Thank you for watching. You can access other instruction videos on our YouTube channel or by navigating to support.quicklink.tv.